So the other day I was standing in line waiting for dinner, and I couldn't help but overhear the girl talking next to me. She was talking about how American Eagle was having a sale on jeans, buy one get one 50% off. And it was a normal conversation, and everything seems normal about the fashion industry today until we start asking questions like, well, where are my clothes really coming from? And where are they going when I don't need them or I throw them out? So this is what the fashion industry has done today. Blinded us with cheap deals and sales, so much so that we don't realize the negative impacts that it's having around the world today. The rise of fast fashion has been negatively affecting both the environment and the people who make our clothes overseas. The garment industry is the second most polluting industry in the world. The average American throws away 82 pounds of clothing a year, resulting in 13.1 million tons of US textile waste alone just sitting in our landfills, waste that will take centuries to decompose. Fashion today has become disposable. When we think of a rip in our t-shirt, we don't think that, oh, I'm just gonna mend it. We think, why not just throw it out when you can go to the store and buy a new one? Fashion has become replaceable. When we think about the clothes in our closets, we're no longer satisfied anymore with what's in them. We can just go to the store and buy more clothes to keep up with what's on trend. And just look at the Ganges River today. If 13.1 million tons of textile waste wasn't enough, well, the Ganges River today is now polluted with textile waste and toxic sludge from leather tanneries. And this is what the fashion industry has done today. The fashion industry also affects the lives of garment workers overseas. The average garment worker is paid unfair, unlivable wages, working in unsafe conditions for long hours overtime. The average US garment worker is paid $1,660 a month. In Cambodia, $92 a month. And in Bangladesh, $43 a month. And this is because of fair labor laws that don't exist in countries like Cambodia and Bangladesh to protect their workers' rights. Things that we take for granted in the United States. But in the USA, fashion companies now can take advantage of this cheap labor and cut down on their own production costs. So what happens when companies only really care about the bottom line? Well, they neglect to care for the well-being of their workers. In 2013, Rana Plaza, a building in Bangladesh housing 5 garment factories, collapsed. More than 1,100 people died, thousands more were injured, in what became the greatest disaster that the fashion industry has ever seen. The cause of this? Cracks in the infrastructure that garment workers have been pointing out to their factory owners days leading up to the collapse. This was pure negligence. And what we see today is that fashion companies really don't care about their workers. These are parents outside of the rubble of Rana Plaza that day. Can you imagine your own parent holding up a picture of you, hoping and praying that somehow you would come out alive? The pain that they must have felt that day is unfathomable to us. That doesn't mean we shouldn't care. So what can we do to lessen the impact of fast fashion in our world today? Well, we can start with ourselves by becoming conscious spenders, thinking about what we buy before we buy it, and cutting down on impulse buys. We can buy secondhand and we can buy ethical. We can go to thrift stores, and we can also support ethical clothing brands that pay their workers a fair wage. We can learn to sew and mend our clothing. The next time our sock has a hole in it, we don't need to throw it out. We can pick up a needle and thread and fix it ourselves. We can take pride in the clothing that we own by just taking good care of it. The impacts of fast fashion today are real, from devastating environmental effects to human rights violations across the globe. But that doesn't mean the fight to end fast fashion is over. I believe if all of us just played a very simple part in trying to end fast fashion. Something as simple as fixing a hole in our sock or asking questions like, where are my clothes really coming from? I believe the world would be a better place because of it. Thank you.